What's going on, the digital world? Welcome back to another episode of the WebBuzz podcast. As always, Sean Tiberio, joined by, normally I'd call him Google Nader, but he armed me with something that I get to have some fun with on this episode, and that is, if you guys could give a warm welcome to Mr. Daddy Daycare. He's got the kids at home, no more babysitter. He's like, hey, if it gets loud, it's just the kids. And I started laughing. So welcome, Daddy Daycare.
Right on. Thank you, man. Well, at least you set it up for everybody. You in case we hear some crying or something like that. Don't worry, they're safe. They're out watching cartoons. They got plenty of snacks. They're good, man. I got this handled.
So we're not going to hear you say, like you did the other day, oh man, I can hear them out there killing each other.
No, hopefully not. We'll be fine. But if you do see me get up and run out of here, you know what's going on. I'm just kind of making sure everything is good to go. So with that, we should be good. I prepped very well for this. It's like I have literally about 40 minutes ready to go.
Well, I mean, you've had some practice, so
I do.
Things should be good, but it is. I get it, and folks, you know, we got to cut Roger some slack here. He is literally in the middle of a transition. I don't know how many of you guys have ever moved before, or moved more than once. It sucks, right? Just moving. I don't care if you're just moving down the street or one town over. It sucks. Imagine being in the middle of the Pacific Ocean and needing to move off the island back here to the mainland and go all the way to the far side of it. So I will cut you some slack. I'll give you a little break on that piece because I get it. Things are probably in shambles around the house right now.
Yeah, it's I mean, we just I talked to you, it's like not too long ago about our first shipment, and we're about to get our second shipment shipped out to our new home in Maryland. So things are starting to get kind of light around here. So there's not a lot of things to entertain the kids.
Well, I know the wife's at work, and hopefully she doesn't watch this live, so you'll have time to come up with the defense on this. But you can always just arm them with a bunch of candy, chocolate, sweets.
And I do.
They'll be quiet for a while.
But after this is all done, oh my God, man, jumping off the walls and yeah, it's you know how it is.
Anyway, with that being said, we got something fun today. It's so fun. I don't even know what we're talking about. Actually, I do. I'm just being silly here. But why don't you go ahead and kick it off and let us know let everybody out there know. And if you guys are watching live, let us know in the comments. If not, you're watching this later, hey, still throw a comment in. We love to see those come in later on. But take it away. Give us a little recap here. What are we getting into today?
Yeah, so we're gonna get into something a little different, but we're gonna go ahead and find the relationship right to this. And so we're gonna be talking a lot about a little bit about the sales process, or just a small portion, because that's a huge journey. In the sales process, everything that happens and what's needed, right? Everything that's needed. So today, what I wanted to focus on is based on a book that I'm reading, Fanatical Prospecting. It's really good stuff, because right now, it's different. The whole sales environment, the whole business environment is very unique, and it's changing every day. And why? Because we're getting better at technology. Right. So there's a lot of gurus out there. I'm going to just call it how it is. Right. A lot of gurus out there that are basically introducing a lot of like different methodologies or new methodologies when it comes to sales. For example, like you don't have to make any more cold calls or go drop off, any business cards anywhere. You don't have to knock on doors. All you have to do is follow my 7-step process, for example. And you'll get all the leads you need from LinkedIn or something else. When in reality, it's a combination. Those things do work. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that those things do not work. They do, but it's a bigger game plan that you need to really execute overall sales plan, right? And what we do here is try to talk about those trends and what's happening. And obviously, Shawn and I, with our digital agency, we help our clients kind of set up their online presence and their websites, SEO, basically getting getting their brand in front of the right eyeballs, right? In front of the right avatar's ideal client, right? So in today's today's episode, what we want to do is talk about the law of familiarity. Okay. So the law of familiarity is like your client. What are you doing to get your ideal client familiar with your brand? What can you do and what's out there? And we're going to bring it back to what we do, right? And how is it important? How is your digital presence or digital footprint, meaning your website and everything else that you have online, important to this process for people to be familiar with you? All right, so that's basically what we're going to break down. So let me just give them the five topics, Shawn, and then we're going to go one by one, and we're going to break it down a little bit for them. So what we call these, or what this particular book calls these, and I love how they set this up, is the 5 levers of familiarity. Okay, so number 1 is persistent and consistent daily prospecting. So I love that part, because if you're not out there prospecting, if you're not out there knocking on doors, network call, doing all those important things, you can't fill your pipe, right? So you have nothing to really, get people familiar, no people to get familiar with your brand. The next one is referrals. And then referrals, obviously, we all love those. The next one we have is number 3 is networking. Number 4 is company and brand familiarity. And then number 5 is personal branding. And all right, so before we kind of start with number 1, Shawn, do you have anything to kind of throw in there before we kick off with persistent and consistent daily prospecting?
The only thing I'm going to add here is I too love that they put these out as what they call the 5 levers, right? You guys know, and Roger, this is kind of my favorite spot, is to nitpick the language and find the meaning in the verbiage that's being used. And when I read the 5 levers of familiarity, I go back to exactly what you just said. It's a combination, right? Think heavy machinery for a second. It isn't just one joystick that operates a piece of heavy machinery. It's multiple levers that can do multiple things, and based on the combination of those movements, the machine does something, right? In what we're about to talk about and break down today, it's not any single one of these. It is the combination of all 5 and how they work together to create the result, to create the outcome. I just wanted to nail down on that for a second. That you nailed it when you said, right, it's a combination of things that get no one thing, right? No one guru's way. Our 7-step process to online marketing, our masterclass free training that we have out there, is great. But that in itself single-handedly can't do it all, right? You still have to have other moving parts and pieces to get it there. Somebody's 5-step process to flipping a house and making 25 grand in any market, in any country, in any area of the country. That one simple thing isn't going to do it all. There's other elements behind it. So as you guys listen to this episode, really take that into consideration. We're going to break down all 5 of these independently, but you can't focus on just one. It has to have a combination of these 5 to create the result. And depending on which of the 5 you're combining with each other, if we're only using part of, a couple of them, that's going to dictate a result. And it may be different than the result if you would have done maybe 2 or 3 other ones together. So I'll get off my soapbox on that one now.
No, that was a good one, man. So let's kind of dive a little deep on this one, and we won't take too much on each one because they're pretty simple. This is nothing new, also, guys. As I go through, this is awesome because this takes me back to kind of my early days, kind of even as a salesperson. I know now I'm web developer, SEO, but I had a life before that. I actually worked in sales. I managed. I used to work for a large paint company. I'm not going to mention them here because I'm not sure if I'm allowed. but yeah, I was a branch manager for so I was in sales hardcore, and then I also sold for a large portion of my career. So going back and reading through these books and seeing this, I mean, I feel like I'm back in the boiler room, man. It gets me excited again. It's like, yeah, I love this because it is true. This has not changed. None of that stuff has changed. All has done, we've gotten more tools. And if you know how to leverage those new tools, those digital tools, you just became a more powerful salesperson. So let's go to persistent and consistent daily prospecting. Okay,
Real
so
quick,
yeah,
real
go for
quick.
it.
'Cause, man, this is what happens when I let you kind of take the lead. You kick ideas in my head. Principle based. This has been something that has stuck with me forever. I have studied the sales side of things for a number of years. Sales is something I absolutely love to do. Every tactic, every technique, every little piece out there has a principle to it. There's a principle to the operation of it. That is what Roger just said right there. Nothing has changed from the principle. The execution of the principle is what is different. Today, it's more digitally done. We'll blend these as we go through these and bring that to it. But I really want you to pay attention to the principle behind it. And then today, we're just inserting some new piece of digital technology to execute it. Go ahead.
That is correct. All right. So persistent and consistent daily prospecting, guys. So my goal here on this podcast is to bring it back to digital, right? Because that's what we're trying to find out. We talk about digital stuff here at WebBuzz. We're looking for the trends, what's going on, and this is a trend, right? We have the old school selling things. That's what it's funny that they call it that. And I love they go old school. It's the principle, to Shawn's point. That's the foundation. There is nothing old school about it. That's just what it is, where you need to start, right? Then you add to it. So with this, when we talk about persistent and consistent daily prospect, we're talking about calls. We're talking about email, voicemail, going and knocking on a door and leaving a business card, right? Etc. All that process, all those tasks right there, your daily tasks, your daily prospecting is basically creating familiarity with your brand, right? Not that you're going to close them right then and there, but you're creating familiarity. People and us, if you've been in sales, you've been turned down. It's natural, right? But what happens is, even when you get turned down, when you leave that, when they come back around and they're in a need, they're in a pinch, guess who they're going to remember? That person that knocked on the door, that email that someone sent. So you have to make it memorable as well, right? So with that, I'm going to lead right into, well, what if you don't have a website? Let's bring it back to what we do, right? How we help our clients. What if you don't have a digital footprint? Meaning you didn't go and do your due diligence to set up your social media presence, right? All those simple things that you can be doing. Well, what happens is that person might still have your business card. They didn't know you because they literally shooed you away, right? When they didn't need you. But when they do need you, they still have your business card. And they're like, I need to know more about this person. So I'm going to look them up really quick. Let me check out the business card. Let me see their website. I'm going to see if they can help me see what information I have on the website. Guess what? You don't have a website. You just lost that opportunity, right? So let's say you do have a website and you do have good information about your service, your product, and your company, right? Now you took one more step on allowing that particular prospect to get familiar with you. So I'm going to open it up to Shawn here before I get into the most powerful part of that. So Shawn, do you have anything on those things?
Yeah, I mean, when you say persistent and consistent daily prospecting, I get it. Calling, email, right? Leaving cards, this kind of stuff. We're going to talk about networking here in a second. Networking is another, to me, that also falls, right? Those two levers kind of have to operate with each other there. But when we talk digital today, consistent and daily and persistent, right? Being persistent consistently every single day is your social media. It's all about brand awareness. It's all about your prospecting today is nothing more than just keeping a breadcrumb trail going of who the heck you are, what do you do, and who do you serve. And where's the best way to do that today? Social platforms. Yes, also getting off social, emails, hitting people in an email inbox. If you can get them on a phone and you've got that structure in place, getting them in phones, right? If you can get out face to face with them somewhere every single day, maybe you're in an area, maybe you've got a territory, real estate agents, real estate investors. We see this one. We work with a lot of them. Persistent and daily, being consistent every single day in that prospecting, showing up in neighborhoods, wandering around, passing out information or leaving information about who you are, driving it back to that website, getting it back to the social platforms where it's consistently in their face. So that, to Roger's point, they don't need you today, but guess what? They're going to need you when it's an emergency. That's when suddenly somebody says, I need you. And who's going to be the top of mind in the emergency? The person that's been ingrained, embedded, kind of been just like the annoying fly around them. So social media would be one that I'd also throw in that list to stay consistent every single day.
Absolutely, absolutely. And there's a lot of going back to that word, right? Gurus out there, social media, things to do to sell, because there is a such thing as social selling, right? We'll talk about that in another episode. That's a whole nother conversation. But there is a lot of concept, which I agree with, is brands are being created on social right now. Social media brands are getting created on social. Go for it, Shawn. You have something.
We got a comment that just came in. I'm going to pull it up on here. Roy's like, bro, use D as an example. I know exactly what he's talking about. Some of you guys.
So do I.
D is my
that's actually a great one.
And you know exactly where I'm going with this. So Roy, thank you for throwing this one out there. To this exact point right here, this exact lever of persistent and consistent prospecting. I can't give details away, but what I will tell you guys is across an 18, 19, almost 20 month sales cycle. And we'd have to go a whole nother, I can go forever talking about what that sales cycle even looks like. 18, 19, 20 months of dealing with a prospect, showing up in their face. But the funny backstory on all of this is that person actually was showing up more in her face, in her role with the company and organization that she works for, begging 18, 19, 20 months. It was that consistent persistence that after 20 months, they're now finally able to lock something up. They're actually able to bring the whole entire thing home. And it's only because of that. A number of these are going to fall into that. But if you don't have the persistence in there to be around it daily, to be in front of your prospects every single day, you're setting yourself up for failure already. None of the other ones that we're about to get into will matter without this one being kind of the primary lever that has to help move all the other ones around. So
exactly. And I mean, I know we're this is not the podcast for it, but something for people to know is there is a such thing, a process in regards to the touches based on how familiar a person is with your brand. So
and that's where the website comes in.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
That's where a website comes in, because it's 7, 8, 9 touches before somebody becomes very familiar. Well, your website can hit them 7, 8, 9, 10 times in one sitting, page after page after page after page. We're building those touch points on it. So before we get too deep into just this one, I know you're going to fire me the heck up, man.
Let's keep moving, because I think we just came up with other topics for other podcast episodes.
Absolutely.
It's good, because I do want to go into this. I'm like, no, push back, because the touch points, right? There's an entire formula on that. It's like depending and everything. It's a science to it. So let's keep moving. So within this one lever that we haven't moved on from, persistent, consistent daily prospecting, one of the things that I want to mention here is going to segue to number 2, is one of the most powerful direct paths to familiarity is a referral. How great is that, right? If you have a big promoter of your brand, service, or product out there that's extremely happy, and then they know somebody that could potentially use service, product, whatever it might be, and they do a direct kind of introduction, that is a very powerful way to get somebody else familiar with your brand. So let me talk about three basic types of referrals, right? So that way you guys can kind of see there is a difference, right? Number 1, there's a customer referrals. Number 2, personal referrals. And number 3, professional referrals, right? So those are the 3 types of referrals. And one of the things that actually backstage, me and Shawn always kind of prep for these podcasts. We talk, and through this, once again, I'm trying to bring it back to digital, right? To websites, to your social presence, digital footprint overall. So what the heck? What's I have to do when someone is actually giving me a direct referral? Maybe it's a customer, a personal, maybe it's my mom, right? Referring me because she knows what I do, or a professional. Maybe Shawn kind of wants or I'm sorry, another company wants us to talk to a different company or whatnot. Well, where it comes down to it is Once again, those people don't know us from that person, right? All they know is that they got referred. They're kind of a raving fan, but they still want to prepare for that call with us. So they want to know a little bit more. A lot of times, naturally, they want to go check out our website. They want to see what Shawn and Roger are up to. What do they do? What kind of client? What other clients? Maybe they're a real estate investor and they know, they heard us that we do real estate investing websites, but they also have a plumbing business, right? And they want to know if we also do that. Well, guess what? Our website speaks to all that. And we do that. We have a lot of information, a lot of resources for people to go there and really get familiar with us before they even get on a call, right? So these referrals are very powerful, but they can be even more powerful if you're prepped for it, if you have a good digital, powerful footprint. All right, Shawn, I'll open it up for you, see if you have anything.
Yeah, on that one there, when we talk referrals, right? Referrals are it's the top of the flywheel. It is the element that really gets the flywheel flying around as fast as our new max traffic is spinning it on our website. Right? If you don't know what I'm talking about, folks, go to topresultsconsulting.com. Check out the octopus max traffic. He's sitting there spinning our flywheel for us, because the referral is the top end that really kind of gives it the weight to keep it slingshotting around. Where does that referral come from? An incredibly delighted customer, somebody that you've done something with. I love what you were just saying too, Roger. Somebody is recommending you to somebody else, not necessarily because they've done business with you, but because they know about you. What's this person going to do? Yeah, they're getting a referral, right? They're recommending somebody over to you, but that person wants to know some information. So referrals, building the referrals from a digital standpoint, it's your job to be putting things like case studies on your website, breakdowns of things that your product or your service has done for somebody else. Literally, testimonials. Testimonials are another big way from a digital standpoint to feed into that referral side. We have all of these components that I'm talking about. So when a company came to us and said, hey, Shawn, Roger, I'm recommending you and I'm going to refer you over to this company over here because they need what you have, and we got on a call with them and started discussing some opportunities, what did they go do when we put information in front of them? They jumped right on our website because they wanted to verify the referral piece of this. They wanted to verify that who they're being recommended to based on the referral of somebody else that they trust is legitimate. And it was, and we're going to continue those conversations. So it all starts with giving that, I love how the book put it, legendary customer experience. But it really comes out, you've got to make a raving fan. You've got to create a raving customer. If your customer, that prospect that ends up doing business with you is not ecstatic about what they're doing or how they gain something from you, you're not going to get referrals from that side. Or if you are, they're not going to be very qualified referrals. And again, we can go into a whole topic on just that piece. So hit my mute button and take it back.
No, man, that's straight up value, man. That's what that's called right there. So we'll keep moving here. So to Shawn's point,
you're saying that was a
boom. That's exactly what I'm saying. So to Shawn's point right here is one, after you get a referral, obviously, how do you get that? Giving a legendary experience, right? But also asking for them, right? Don't forget to ask for them. Having a discipline to really have a system on asking for referrals is huge. The reason we don't get referrals many of us that are out there in business, because we just don't ask, right? There's people sometimes 100%. Don't think about it, right? So you got to ask. So I'll leave it at that for that one. And now we're going to go ahead and move on to the next lever, which is one I'm sure Shawn actually has a lot here to share. This is a very powerful one, is networking, right? So I'll kind of kick it off a little bit, Shawn, because I think
I'm just going to start it with this before you kick it off.
Go ahead.
It's so powerful that so many people shy away from it out of fear, that those of us that have learned to master this, we can literally build an entire business around the networking side. Like networking as it stands alone, when done right, is a very, very powerful lever in all of this, yet so many people shy away from it. So you could talk about the details of it, and I'm challenging everybody out there, because I bet 90% of the people listening right now just heard networking and went, I don't even know what to say.
Yeah. So networking, right? So networking, what are we talking about? Networking. There is so many ways to network, so many ways. There's not even enough time here to talk about all of them, but let's just kind of hit some of the most important ones that are pretty simple. Number one, I know everything is starting to open up in many states. Events, going events. And we're not talking about huge paid events, which are great, right? But we're talking about just the local, events that maybe about your industry, chamber of commerce, things like that. Go network. There's people that need services. I need products, right? Get out there, network. But one key thing that should be a takeaway when you go out to network, you have to have a certain discipline and mindset that you got to know that people don't really care what you have to say, right? They want to talk about themselves. They don't really care about what you have to say. They want to talk about themselves, which for you as a salesperson is awesome, because to grab information to extract information of their pain points is hard. But when you're out there networking and people are willing to put out that information, you better get going. You better start getting, listen, right? Listen, because the people will not remember you. They'll remember how you made them feel, right? So if you're there listening, it's like, man, Roger was awesome. I mean, he offers digital services. He's a web developer. He's a great listener, right? It's like, because you and what we're doing as
actually is true.
But people really kind of remember that. So they're probably, when they go home and they have your business card and they're in need of something that you offer, you're probably going to be the first thing. But I'm going to bring it back to what Shawn and I offer with digital marketing, websites, social media, is they're going to be like, oh, I remember them doing that, but I don't remember everything. So I want to check out their business card and see if they have the website so I can learn a little bit more about them. They go to our website, and we already talked about, we have a ton of reasons. We have that set up. What we're trying to do off of this podcast, we're not trying to kind of like, give ourselves a pat on the back. We're trying to educate you guys that go challenge yourselves. Go look at your website, your online presence, and make sure that you're prepped for these situations, so you can also reap those benefits of people looking up your brand, looking up your website, and them saying, I learned more about this person. Now I really want to get on a phone call with them, or I really want to reach out and touch base. But Shawn, I'll go ahead and pass it over to you and see what we got here.
Yeah, I'm gonna add. I'd love pulling some of these comments in. I see my brother was out there watching. He said he loves networking. It's helped him like crazy. Roy, great insight again here from our boy Roy. Eventbrite, free seminars all day. Things like Eventbrite, meetups, that kind of stuff. Great place to find opportunities to network. However, I do want to tie this back to the digital marketing side of things, and I'm going to bring something up that is huge from a networking standpoint, leveraging digital technology that was dying prior to 2020. And thank you, COVID, for bringing this back, because it makes it so easy for digital presence like us, and that is the use of QR codes. QR codes in your networking. Remember what Roger just said. When we're out networking, nobody gives a you-know-what about you. They want to talk about themselves. And some of you guys listening right now, you fall in that category. You don't know how to network. You just know how to dominate the conversation and talk about yourself instead of learning about the other person. If you have the tools to use at a networking function the right way, a business card that has basic information, and heck, put a freaking QR code on it, where people are so natural now to just scan them. This was a dying thing. People knew, if I scan that, it's probably going to go to some piece of marketing. But now everything's freaking QR coded. You need to learn how to use the toilet at a bathroom. You got to scan the QR code for turn on, I feel like. Use the QR code type thing, or drive back to the website. You don't have to worry about talking so much. You don't have to worry about explaining so much about what you do, because it's all about, I love the way you said it, listening, being remembered for some of those good quality traits that you have, caring, ask a lot of questions about them. They want to talk. Ask a lot of questions about them. They're going to remember that. Therefore, they're going to start to look at the collateral. And if you've got solid collateral that drives back to a really well-structured digital footprint, solid website, solid information, solid content, and all the stuff that we've talked about on past episodes on here, your social platforms, look, feel, brand, talk similar to the website. This is why I said at the start of this lever right here, networking is, to me, it's one of my favorite ones. It is one of my favorite ways to build a business, build brand awareness, is to just get out in front of people and talk and listen and pass out information and build relationships. And through those relationships, things just start to spiral from there.
And that's not new, right, Shawn? This is the early sales people. This is a natural like part of the foundational process for sales, and it is still to this day one of the most important pieces. And yet, most entrepreneurs shy away from it. So hopefully, you guys kind of got.
You're going to get great referrals, whether they do business with you or not, because if they like what they see about you online, they've met you a few times, they've got a good relationship with you, they're going to go and recommend people like crazy. And if you're persistent and consistent and always out prospecting, networking, building referrals, always being consistent on, you see how all of a sudden 3-4 of these levers starting to move in tandem with each other? Ooh, we got a bad machine doing a lot of different things at one time. Which leads us to the fifth one. I'll let you kind of take it here, because this has been a fun one, because we've got both of these going right now, just in our own business, and we've got some clients on this side as well.
Absolutely. So the next and final lever is the personal branding, right? Personal branding. So with personal branding, I actually think this is probably the bonus and the ninja trick, right? Or the ninja task or method that is left on the table, never grabbed. And it's basically because of the fear, right? That comes with this personal branding. So personal branding can mean a lot of things. It could be you setting up your people getting familiar with your name. For example, in our business, Roger, right? There are clients that have come to us because they know me, right? And then they get to know Shawn, they get to know Top Results. Oh, I love you guys, right? Boom, you do business, right? Or Shawn, they know Shawn, then they get to know Roger, they get to know Top Results, and then boom, they close as a client, right? So that's kind of what we're talking about, personal branding and really becoming an authority in your space and in your industry. But the reason I call it kind of like the item that gets left on the table or the ninja trick, right, is because we don't do it and there's so much opportunity. And what this is public speaking, the power of public speaking, right? Going out there and actually speaking, and don't overcomplicate this, because you might say, well, I'm not a professional speaker, so I'm not going to get hired to go speak at these events. Take a couple steps down. You're not, right? I'm not. Shawn is, right? Shawn has gone through the whole process. He's a professional speaker. He does it very well. Roger, on the other hand, I'm not, right? But I have been on.
Oh, you are. I'm going to throw you on it. Yeah. I'll throw you off the stage, man. Come on.
But to point being, us, you entrepreneurs out there that maybe have a fear for this is huge, because there's not a lot out there, but there are opportunities. For example, your Chamber of Commerce, your Rotary clubs, trade shows, things like that. They are always looking for industry experts that can speak, short blocks. And what happens in that particular span when you speak, or you're a speaker within a group, what that creates is for a minute, you become a celebrity. And people want to talk to you, and people want to come up to you after and give you their business cards. They want to talk once again, like networking, but instead of you going after them, it's inbound. You go and speak, you for a minute become a celebrity at that event. You come down from stage and you'll naturally get people leads, literally leads coming to you, right? From there, you got to go through the sales process, right? Follow up and all that. So Shawn, I'll kind of hand it over to you, because that's a powerful one. And I think you do it extremely well. And obviously you got a ton of experience around this.
Well, I mean, we wanted to keep this tied back on the digital side. And when I look at personal branding, right, and to nail what you just said, speaking as you, the brand, you, the face of your brand, it also doesn't just have to be at physical events, live and in person. Yes, in that moment, emotions can grow pretty quickly. Somebody you resonate, something you say, whatever resonates with people in the audience. I've had it happen millions of times. They come up to you afterwards and I resonated with this story or that story or whatever the case or whatever you said here, blah, 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 blah. We exchange information and it does. It absolutely generates business fast. However, from a digital side of things, guess what we're doing right now? We're public speaking. Yeah, there's not a huge live audience sitting in front of me, right? I'm staring at a camera that is up on a screen that I can see Roger and there's a bookshelf. And that's what I feel like I'm talking to. However, it's in the digital space. There's people on live right now, and there's going to be, hundreds and hundreds of people that watch this post at some point or listen to it over on audio. It's public speaking. It still has the ability to impact, create a connection, and it brings a brand, a personalized brand to who is Top Results Consulting. Top Results Consulting is WebBuzz, is Shawn and Roger. That's what Top Results is. People buy into you. They don't buy in. Nobody wakes up one day and goes, I'm going to go find this place called Top Results and do business with it. No, they wake up and they go, I need a website. I need social media. I need digital marketing help. And I have a relationship with this guy named Shawn or Roger that I believe is in that. And I know has some things around that. I'm going to trust him and ask him for things. That's the connection that they have, right? We're not all, again, let me actually back up and preface this. We're not big corporations. We don't have the billions of dollars to throw at marketing like the Coca-Colas and the Nikes and the Gatorades to where somebody's attached to the brand and it doesn't need a physical face to it. We're the small potatoes here. You got to have that personal brand, that face to it. And I see Mickey, one of our clients, actually just wrote a comment in over here. I'm going to pull it up. Yep. That's powerful branding. Mickey's a great example. We hear her week after week after week talk about people have connected with her or Aisa, one of her business partners, in the videos that they do. And because of that connection that they felt with those two ladies and over, and I know you have personally worked with Mickey buying your house back there, right? There's a connection there that you don't even need to know their company name to know that you're going to do business with them.
Exactly. No, extremely, extremely powerful. I love what Mickey said. There's like having that powerful branding, working on the brand recognition, working on your personal connections with people it's a game changer, right? And a lot of times, the big mistake and what I really got fired up about this particular episode and reading this book and going back to my roots of sales, right, is that we're a lot of new school salespeople, processes, a lot of gurus out there are really discounting and saying a lot of these they're calling them old, right? Old methods are dead. When in reality, it's a foundational. If you don't have those, you can't move to the next level. You can't use these digital tools as a supplement to then skyrocket where you're going, right? You can't do that. Shawn and I, consistently kind of talk about this stuff, but yeah, it's like that's basically where it's at. It's like, don't kind of big takeaway. Don't think that a lot of these kind of foundational pieces are dead. They're not. You still got to go out there and pound on doors. But these digital tools, digital methods have just made it so much easier to go instead of from one-to-one dialogue to one-to-many very, very fast.
Absolutely. I mean, I know we want to wrap up, but I want to end at least my part on this piece of it. I started off saying it's multiple of these levers moving along, and you can draw correlations across every single one of these. But at the end of the day, Roger and I preach this all the time. Your website should be your number one sales and marketing tool, not your number one marketing flyer. Your number one sales and marketing tool. Getting out and beating the street, as Roger's talking about, isn't dead. It's still there. You can still beat the street. but you can do it where you impact more or shorten, I should say, not necessarily just impact more, shorten the time frame that somebody takes to learn who you are and trust you because of digital, right? Because now in the moment, if you're doing a combination of digital levers and in-person levers that we just talked about, I can go to a networking event, meet somebody, talk for a couple minutes, listen to them, learn a little bit, move on to the next person, and not feel like that might be the only time I get to talk to this person, because they can leave and they can go to my website and they're going to be able to find out a whole lot more. They can get onto my social media. They're going to be able to find out a whole lot more. Whereas these individuals, these gurus who are just trying to sell you a course and try to say that all of these old school ways are dead, when what they're trying to say is those ways only worked pre-internet phase, because then you would have to get on the phone and try to set up a meeting and try to get to somebody, and you may have only had their phone, right? Email wasn't a big thing either. You had to type a letter on a typewriter and send it. I was laughing, telling Roger backstage that I've been listening to a workshop that was like they're literally using examples of selling typewriters and copy machines and how they go out of date and what's the itch cycle of a consumer on a typewriter and these type of things. That type of prospecting or that type of networking or that type of building referrals, where I got to bust out a Rolodex card to get a referral from somebody to fill out the information. Yes, that method is dead. But I want to re-emphasize what I started off with. The principles that we just went over apply both in person and online, digital format. And it's not one or the other. It is the combination of both. It is the simultaneous use of both levers with all 5 of these kind of mixed in angles that you can move those. That's what's going to crush it. That's what's going to get your business moving. And that's when Roger said at the start of this, things are changing. That's the part that's changing. And you're either going to be on the front wave of it and ride it through and have some fun and have some great success, or you're going to be playing catch up the whole time, wondering why you're struggling, wondering why other businesses that are less capable than you are getting the clients and you're not. And it's just because they pick up on trends and they move with it. And rant.
Yeah. Tools have just gotten big. Your tools have just gotten better, basically. That's bad. And if you know how to leverage that, it's good. So we're going to start wrapping up here, but I do want to, on my part, Shawn, I do want to leave you guys with the quick one. I want to challenge you guys because I thought this was hilarious when I was kind of reading through this book and the example, because I'm like, oh man, I've had this happen to me so many times. So if you're an entrepreneur, you started a website and you put some personal information about your business or, stuff like that. Somebody's going to get a list with your name on it and your phone number and your email, right? So you're going to probably get some what we call spam, but in reality, it's consistent prospecting from another company, right?
It is.
What's funny, right? That's it. What's funny is you will get the digital marketing agencies or the gurus that will cold call you. They'll cold call you and they'll tell you, Roger, I have a system that you can buy right now where you will never have to do any cold calling again.
I see these ads all the time floating around social.
Think of the irony of that. It's like, wait a minute. You can always challenge that person. It's like, well, if your system is so great, shouldn't I be reaching out to you? Right? Because I should have been familiar, right? But you're cold calling me. You're telling me that you have a system that will kill cold calling. So I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, no, I love that one because I see it all the time on Facebook. Check out, I'm running a Facebook ad to teach you about my LinkedIn system that'll stop you from running Facebook ads. But I'm targeting you on Facebook.
Exactly. That should actually be our drop, man.
It should have. I think my mouse is not working very well. I didn't move it or whatever. Whatever.
We're good. We're good.
This was a good one. I'm really glad that you brought this up. It's a little different than what we've been doing here on the WebBuzz podcast, but you guys let us know. Reach out to us. Let us know in the comments if this type of topics have been helpful. If you want to hear more on this, because there's definitely, you can fire Shawn up quite a bit on this, and it sounds like we can get Roger fired up too. There's more chapters he hasn't gotten to on this book and in this topic, and it's kind of rekindling the sales spirit in him, which I like. I like that. So you guys let us know if you want to hear more on it. Anything you want to leave them with, any final words of encouragement or motivation?
The only thing I'm going to leave you with, just be fanatical about your prospecting. That's it.
Agreed. And as always, we say it every single week here on the WebBuzz podcast. If you're ready to really take your digital marketing to another level, get that website and web presence built out. So not just talk to the robots that Mr. Google Nader himself sitting over there talks to quite frequently, but also get it talking to your prospects so that prospecting can trigger great results, so that those referrals start coming in. That makes your networking a lot easier. You got a couple different options. You can head over to the link that you see floating around down at the bottom of the screen, topresultsconsulting.com/7 steps. That is the 7-step process that we take every single one of our clients through, that we build every one of our clients, that we've built everything that we here at Top Results and everything through. It's the 7 steps that just get you set up and get you dominating online, that gives you the tools and the ammunition you need to blend everything that we just talked about together. Go take action, go fill out the form, get those 7 steps. There's a couple different videos, handouts, trainings, whatever the case, that we put in there to help you do it yourself. For those of you that say, not my specialty, not what I want to do, then just head to topresultsconsulting.com. Let's get on a call. Let's see what we can do to help you crush your digital presence so that you can start making better results in your business. Till next episode, we will not be coming to you guys next week. Seems like with everything opening back up, a lot of people are going away for the 4th of July holiday and extending that piece. I was just talking to our accountant right before this episode, Roger, and even he said he's taking off on Friday this week. I'm taking off next Monday. I'm pretty much out of town the whole week, kind of thing. So there will not be a live broadcast of the WebBuzz podcast next week. So everybody have a wonderful 4th of July. Be safe, enjoy, but we will be picking up again right after the 4th of July weekend with some amazing topics. We'll talk to you guys soon. And as always, here's to your success.